What if I told you that millions of Social Security recipients could be receiving significantly larger payments starting May 28, 2025? Thanks to what's being called the House's Big Beautiful Bill? Are you one of the 67 million Americans who rely on Social Security benefits and have been wondering when relief might finally arrive? If you're tired of watching your fixed income lose purchasing power month after month while everything from groceries to gas continues climbing, then you absolutely need to hear what's happening right now in Washington that could change your financial situation dramatically. Before we dive into the details of this potentially game-changing legislation, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell because we're constantly bringing you the latest updates on Social Security, Medicare, and other benefits that directly impact your wallet. You won't want to miss any of these crucial updates that could mean hundreds or even thousands of extra dollars in your pocket each year. The legislation currently making waves through Congress represents one of the most significant proposed changes to Social Security cost of living adjustments in decades. But what exactly does this big beautiful bill contain? And how could it affect your monthly Social Security check? The answer might surprise you, especially if you've been frustrated by what many consider inadequate COLA increases in recent years. This proposed legislation aims to address what critics have long argued is a fundamental flaw in how Social Security calculates cost of living adjustments, potentially resulting in more accurate and generous increases that better reflect the real-world expenses faced by seniors and disabled Americans. Understanding the current COLA calculation process is crucial to appreciating why this new legislation could be so impactful. Currently, Social Security uses the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, known as CPIW, to determine annual cost of living adjustments. However, many economists and advocacy groups have argued that this index doesn't accurately reflect the spending patterns of Social Security recipients, who typically spend a larger portion of their income on healthcare, housing, and other necessities that have been rising faster than the general inflation rate. Does this sound familiar to your own experience with rising costs? The proposed legislation would fundamentally change this calculation by switching to what's called the Consumer Price Index for the Elderly, or CPIE, which specifically tracks the inflation experienced by Americans aged 62 and older. This seemingly technical change could have profound implications for your monthly benefits. Research suggests that CPIE typically runs about 0.2 to 0.3 percentage points higher than CPIW annually, which might not sound like much, but over time, this difference compounds significantly. For someone receiving $1,500 per month in Social Security benefits, even a modest increase in the COLA calculation could mean an additional $50 to $100 per month, or $600 to $1,200 more per year. But why is May 28, 2025, such a crucial date in this discussion? This date represents when the first payments under the new COLA calculation method would theoretically be distributed if the legislation passes and is implemented according to the proposed timeline. However, it's important to understand that legislative processes can be unpredictable, and while there's growing bipartisan support for addressing COLA calculation issues, the path from proposal to implementation is rarely straightforward. Are you prepared for the possibility that this timeline could shift? And do you have contingency plans for managing your finances regardless of when or if these changes take effect? The financial impact of this proposed change extends far beyond just the monthly payment increase. Consider how even a modest boost in your Social Security benefits could affect your overall retirement strategy. If you're currently working part-time to supplement your Social Security income, would a higher monthly benefit allow you to reduce those working hours or retire completely? For those who have been delaying major purchases or medical procedures due to financial constraints, could this increase provide the financial breathing room you've been seeking? Healthcare costs represent one of the most significant expenses for Social Security recipients, and this is where the proposed COLA changes could have their most meaningful impact. The current CPIW calculation has been criticized for understating the healthcare inflation that seniors actually experience. Medicare premiums, prescription drug costs, and out-of-pocket medical expenses have been rising at rates that often exceed general inflation, leaving many Social Security recipients feeling like their benefits are losing purchasing power each year despite official COLA increases. Would switching to an elderly-specific inflation measure help your Social Security benefits keep pace with your actual living expenses more effectively? Housing costs present another area where the proposed legislation could provide meaningful relief. Many Social Security recipients are homeowners who face rising property taxes, insurance costs, and maintenance expenses. while others are renters dealing with increasing rent and utility costs. The CPIE calculation gives greater weight to housing costs that reflect the spending patterns of older Americans, potentially resulting in COLA increases that better address these realities. Have you found yourself struggling to keep up with housing-related expenses on your current Social Security income? The political dynamics surrounding this legislation are also worth considering. While there's often partisan disagreement on Social Security reforms, COLA calculation changes have historically enjoyed broader support because they're seen as technical improvements rather than fundamental changes to the program's structure. However, any legislation that increases government spending faces scrutiny, especially in the current fiscal environment. The question becomes whether lawmakers will prioritize the immediate needs of current Social Security recipients over longer-term budgetary concerns. Critics of the proposed changes raise valid concerns about the long-term sustainability of Social Security if benefits increase faster than currently projected. The Social Security trustees already project that the program's trust funds could face depletion in the 2030s without reforms, and increasing COLA calculations could accelerate this timeline. However, supporters argue that providing adequate benefits to current recipients shouldn't be sacrificed for theoretical future problems that could be addressed through other reforms. Where do you stand on this balance between current benefit adequacy and long-term program sustainability? The implementation challenges associated with such a significant change to COLA calculations cannot be overlooked. The Social Security Administration would need to update its systems, retrain personnel, and communicate changes to millions of beneficiaries. The May 28, 2025 target date assumes a relatively smooth implementation process, but government technology updates and policy changes often face unexpected delays. Are you prepared for the possibility that even if this legislation passes, the actual implementation might take longer than currently projected? For current Social Security recipients, the question becomes how to plan financially while this legislation moves through Congress. Should you adjust your spending or saving patterns based on the possibility of higher future benefits? Or is it more prudent to continue with your current financial strategy until changes are actually implemented? Financial advisors generally recommend planning conservatively and treating any potential benefit increases as welcome bonuses rather than expected income. But each person's situation is unique. The broader implications of this legislation extend beyond just Social Security recipients to include their families and the overall economy. Higher Social Security benefits typically translate into increased consumer spending, which can stimulate economic activity in communities with large retiree populations. If you're a Social Security recipient, how might higher monthly benefits change your spending patterns? And what local businesses or services might benefit from your increased purchasing power? As we await further developments on this legislation, staying informed about the legislative process becomes crucial. Committee hearings, floor votes, and potential amendments could all affect the final form of any legislation that emerges. The political calendar, including upcoming elections and budget cycles, will also influence the timing and likelihood of passage. Are you actively following the legislative process? And do you know how to contact your representatives to express your views on this important issue? The Big Beautiful Bill represents hope for millions of Americans who have watched their Social Security benefits struggle to keep pace with their actual living costs. While May 28, 2025, remains a target date rather than a guarantee, the momentum behind reforming COLA calculation suggests that change may finally be coming to how Social Security adjusts benefits for inflation. Whether these changes will be as comprehensive and generous as supporters hope remains to be seen, but the conversation itself represents progress toward acknowledging the real financial challenges faced by Social Security recipients. What do you think about these proposed changes to Social Security COLA calculations? Have you experienced the gap between official inflation measures and your actual cost increases? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for the latest updates on Social Security and other benefit programs that affect your financial future.